This was in the Sacred Valley. What was so impressive, I think, to all of us was that the stonework that was there, that these people moved these stones from miles away, and that they were intricately placed together.
Without mortar, without anything, and they still remain, even though this is a very high earthquake intense area.
And one of the things that they were talking a lot there is that the technology that they used to build this city, so we're talking that how many years, like 5,000 years before, or 4,000, well, many years before. Okay. They didn't have any machines, nothing. They didn't have any clue about how to cut stones or everything. And if you see here, all of these little rocks that they just put it like in a puzzle. And it's just perfect because they have had many earthquakes and nothing happened to these walls. So it is something just good.
New masonry falls, old masonry has stayed. Churches everywhere, and parks, and it's a big walking city.
That is Cusco.
And this is Sacred Valley again, and this is the beginnings of the terracing and how they built upwards. Everything was built up in order to bring the plants from the lower levels up, and each time they built a terrace, they would have to acclimate the plants to that. So nowadays, things like bougainvillea are able to grow in these higher altitudes.
And this was one of the ones that I had almost a deja vu experience. I had, of course, never been to Peru. This was my first time, but I can remember being in 5th grade social studies and looking at a picture that was exactly like this. So it immediately took me to 5th grade and the daydreamer that I was and still am. And just, it was such an amazing place, an amazing experience.
There's another city that was like a castle that they have there. So the thing is that this mountain was extremely steep. There was no way to build anything there. So they found a way to start building all of these terraces over here, and there are houses on top as well. And even they have a little prison on this side. So did you behave bad? Listening to that.
How many steps? 200?
It was a whole lot. I don't remember. All I remember is I stopped several times. So.
Machu Picchu.
We love this city. It was great.
And it really, it worships their gods, their sun gods, all of it. But you did feel that people were there, and people lived there, and they built this and created it, and it was in a sense spiritual. You were sitting there going, wow.
And there is a mountain that we're going to talk about later.
Huayna Picchu.
Huayna Picchu is the name of the mountain. So we climbed that mountain. It was hard. It was like an hour and a half, kind of.
Those two climbed it. I got halfway. Okay. They went to the top, and I said, I'll be down here in case you never come back.
It was the hardest hike I've ever done.
So this is on top of the mountain, and this is Machu Picchu. This is just the city that we just saw. And how to get to Machu Picchu, we're supposed to take a bus, and it was not the best bus. So I was all around here, and
It was scary even getting to Machu Picchu.
But it was great.
So you did ride the bus?
We did.
Oh, we rode the bus up. Oh, yeah.
This is on top of the mountain.
And there it's about 7,000 feet or 2,000 something meters.
So you could see how it was a hidden city. I mean, it's covered with mountains all around. And so once the city was lost, it was truly lost. It was very difficult to get to.
And then we went to the Amazon. So that was Machu Picchu, and then we went to the Amazon. And that is the dinner. Well,
Or the breakfast. This is breakfast for some people.
What is it?
Larvae.
Roasted. They're kind of crunchy.
You tried it?
Although we did not try it.
I tried it.
just move in your mouth when they want
It melts.
They can bite your tongue or something, but it's fine. And this is the Amazon River.
The river.
Just walking through the Amazon. So the idea today is that we are celebrating the National Rainforest Day with the kids, and if you saw the hallway with all of the decoration and everything, so it is just that we want that the kids, they have a little feel, a little sense about the nature around, and also because there is this school, Santa Cruz is the name of the school in Peru, that they really are having a hard time just trying to get books or even whiteboards to write things. They don't have anything. The teachers, they go to this school for the entire week, so they sleep in that school, and the room where they sleep is just a little room. Everybody put their bed next to each other, they go to bed, and next day they wake up and go with the kids and they finish.
Because this is not a city that you can drive to. You have to take a boat to get there, and it took us, what,
Well,
2.5 hours to get there?
But even Iquitos, which is the main city in the rainforest, or in the Peruvian rainforest, it's considered the capital of the rainforest in Peru. There's no way to get there except by airplane or by boat. There's no roads through the rainforest into there. But it's a city of 1 million people.
Wow.
Yeah. And, oh, we put pictures of the autobus. Yeah, they were cool. But, yeah.
So different animals that we saw, Hikari monkeys.
Was that just in the wild, or were those contained, or?
Those were at
Those are running free at a rescue center. Although at nighttime, we
heard all
did
kinds of
hear
things.
lots of things in the forest. Where we stayed was a place, and yeah, we got close to bats and lots of things. But you'd hear the screaming in the forest, and it was, it was incredibly exciting, terrifying, and kind of whoa, okay. But and we saw lots of different animals. Of course, the butterflies are incredible, and this is what you're seeing out in the hall that the kids did to understand that all of nature, every part of it has a valuable point. That if it weren't for jaguar, if it weren't for even the smallest creatures, the trees and the flowers wouldn't continue to bloom and grow. And whatever happens in one small way, in one area, affects the rest of the world. Owl, moth.
It was so interesting to see that. I mean, that
Camouflage. Yeah, it like Joey. Yes.
Mode of transportation.
Yeah. That's considered kind of like limos.
No, that's a really fancy ride.
That is a fancy ride because it's got a top to it.
Oh, okay. What's the climate like?
Okay,
It's milder than here in the sense that the rainforest actually stays temperate. It's not temperate, but it stays about 80s the whole time.
The humidity,
Humidity is
was
100%.
so much worse than we even have here.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Did your hair curly?
It's very.
You didn't have that.
Everybody was scared. Saying, oh, we got lions here.
It's a big lion. And
These are piranhas.
they're very, very happy.
Let's throw a little food there.
Ooh, that's not bad.
So what story came about?
Piranhas. But as your kids have learned, only a few species of piranha are actual meat eaters. Others are herbivores and some are omnivores. Not all will attack all the time. Yeah. And lily pads that our kids could lay on.
Yeah.
Haven. That was where Joey climbed a tree.
Your photography is amazing. Yes. Excellent.
This was dinner.
And the house is the regular house how people live. So you just have the boat or here and
And notice that the river's low. Right now, this was the winter time for them. And the river rises about 20 feet during the wet season. So it would be at the top of the stairs, as it's here now, and, they're just used to it. People a lot of houses flood, and they're just used to it. They move their sleeping equipment up to their second stories.
What's the name of this animal?
Yeah,
Manatees.
We're at a manatee rescue.
When is the wet season?
It would be our winter time, which is their summer.
They love kisses.
Besos.
Yes. There's monkeys.
And these are all in a preserve,
Some of them, the
Some of
saddest
them.
thing, it was sad. Their zoo makes ours look like a national monument. I mean, makes ours look fantastic. Animals in,
Very, very
the
tight.
jaguar would be in, oh gosh, an enclosure that would be from where Becky is to where the door is. And that's where it lives. It's very small, but,
I mean, why,
Very
what
important.
is the purpose of the zoo? I mean, why not have them just in the wild? Are they just doing it for entertainment for people
it's
like
in,
here?
that's in Iquitos, and it is for entertainment. Monetary reasons. And of course, they are extraordinarily poor. This is their mall, their shopping malls. Main Street. These are the kids in parades. Teachers
Teachers in the parades.
wear the uniforms.
And they have to wear a uniform.
Don't
Don't
get
get
any
any
ideas.
That'd be a good thing. With heels, yeah.
So was the parade marking a special day?
Independence Day.
Independence Day.
Peruvian.
Taxis. Filling
Yes.
station for taxis.
The market.
How long were y'all there?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Did you buy your food at the market?
Actually, they did.
Yes, they did. Now some of the food they were able to get from, a lot of the Peruvians in the rainforest are subsistence farmers, and they have their chickens, they have their pigs, and they do have a lot from the forest.
Fruit everywhere.
Yeah. You stop and think about the fruit that they have is, they get 3,000 types of fruits and vegetables in the rainforest. We only take advantage of 200, but they take advantage of more.
You want to talk about the
Oh, the logging.
So
And
everywhere.
as you may have heard from your children, we discovered that 90% of all logging is done by pirates. People who go up and down the river, and they will go up and down and find an area that nobody's there. They will come in and clear out a swath, 1 to 5 acres within a day, put them on boats, send them down the river, and sell them. And of course, this is illegal. You have to have special permits to do this. And some of these logs, if you look at the width of them, it was impressive. Just the diameter of them were taller than Joe. So these are huge, huge old growth logs. And once the forest is cut down, that's when you get your jungle, because the forest opens up allows the sun to come in, but unless the jungle takes over quickly, all the topsoil is washed off, and it becomes barren. So when they log it and turn it into farms, within 5 years, the farms are no longer productive and they move on. We were at the Amazonia Tree Project, where they are reclaiming and buying old farmlands that have been decimated and replanting them with trees. And trees are a major source of income for the kids. When we were there, they gave the people we were staying with and working with, planting trees, for each child that we worked with, they gave the children a tree, and they realized how important the trees are, because by the time the children are adults, that tree might keep them alive. If they cut it and sell it, it might keep them alive for maybe 10, 20 years. So they're realizing how important they are now.
How do the local people there feel about what's going on? What was their expression about this logging?
They don't like it.
They don't
but
like it, but
they're extremely, extrely poor. So if someone offered me, I'm gonna give you a couple of dollars, you help me bring in all these things. Okay.
I'll feed my kids, or I'll be able to buy.
Be able to send them to school.
To school, because the children there have to pay to go to school. They have to have their hair cut. They have to wear uniforms, even in the public schools. And if they don't have their hair cut, if they don't wear the right uniform, They can't come. And most of the children, well, all of the kids that we talked with and worked with, they came to school on boats.
Do they
I like that.
understand the long-term ramifications of cutting down the trees? Do they get that, or they're just looking at the now? Like maybe they don't.
If you've got a screaming, hungry child, they're looking at the now.
They're looking
Yeah.
at the now. Okay.
They like the idea of pigs and chickens because the chickens and the pigs will have babies and they can grow up and they can slaughter a few and have meat for a few times. They're big, big fishermen. Everybody fishes down there. And there's a school, Santa Cruz.
So when you say it's 90% is the pirates coming and doing this, is that's local, like
It
pirate
can be,
people, or
well,
like foreign coming in? Like
well, the only way, well, it's the local people will do it. I mean, because they're getting paid for it. But it's the corporations, the larger companies that say will pay the individuals to do it. They might pay an individual $5 a day to cut trees all day long. And out of that, they might pay the person, somebody who's right there who says, okay, well, this is my land. And they'll say, okay, we'll give you $1 a tree. And the trees will actually sell for maybe, depending on the type of tree, like mahogany would sell for, $1,800 a tree, depending on the
now where
size.
is it going off to? Where are the trees?
It's going straight down the Amazon, back out to the Atlantic and over to Europe and up to here.
So is the school?
And by the way, all the place where you see the flags, that's their gym. That's where they have their PE, their phys ed.
How many students are in the school?
I would say about like 200 maybe, and this would be like first grade through 12th.
We worked with 18 fifth and sixth graders.
Yeah.
So it's a lot who don't go to school?
A lot.
A lot. And a lot of them, when they're now learning that if they register their child, they will get free medical and dental care for their child. But if they have, most of them still have children at home, and if they don't register them, then they don't get free medical. And so that's a big thing. But if they're registered, they also realize they're expected to send their children to school, and then they still have to pay for it. So, and this is, I think wasn't that the middle school or part of the high school?
I think in high school.
Yeah.
That's the board thing.
This is
Yes.
the classroom.
And when it's rainy, they get wet because all the openings you see, there's no coverings.
This is the only set of books that the entire school have.
Can I ask a question that I should have asked several minutes ago? Just for somebody who's not in the know, what was the background behind this trip? Just
All right,
if
it's
you don't mind,
science. No, it wasn't. I knew I wanted to bring something more here to expand because we're talking global studies. And since my interest is the science, and I knew that the rainforest was being cut down in the past, your kids may have told you, in the past 50 years, it's gone from 15% of the Earth's surface area down to 6%. And that is reducing our oxygen, our medicines, our food supply, all of it, and also encouraging global warming. And I wanted to have more of a knowledge of that area. And this was Amazonia Tree Project, which is trying to restore the trees. And when I was looking at it and was seeing the project, and I was saying, oh, this is something I'm interested in, and it was talking about come down, work with the kids, and see what the area is like. And so, that's how I got started on this. And
We thought it would be a great co-curricular
Yeah.
thing to merge and really, work with the whole lower school.
And yes, I am a tree hugger. So, but, it's important to our children. And I've got children and grandchildren, and I'd like them to have a good area. I wouldn't mind being here in Jackson and having a waterfront property or oceanfront property, but, I prefer it not happen.
I mean, as a parent, I feel thrilled that you all are going and doing this kind of thing, because in any way that you can make the other parts of the world become more alive and real for our children. I mean, that's why I'm here at St. Andrews, is for them to be educated about global things, not just about, what goes on in the oldest grove. Like this is huge and important. And I just thank you all for educating yourselves to help get our children, make it more realistic and alive and real for them.
biggest thing that I found out was that the pirates, it is kind of like the pirate, and they were talking pirates, and I was like, you've got to be kidding, I'm Blackbeard and all this, but it's really going on, and
So have you all shared, have they seen the slideshow, our children?
not yet.
Well, they've seen.
Well, they've seen
They've
the
seen
stuff
cycle, but I
outside,
think
yeah.
when we do our scavenger hunt
Scavenger hunt.
today, they will, after they're finished, we can sit them down right in front of the screens and we can go over some of
All
that.
the stuff that they see. But they've been learning about it and learning the, teacher's bathroom.
So where are the teachers going for their higher level of education? Are they?
They
coming
might
out
fly
of
into
Rainforest?
Lima, they might fly down to Cusco, they might go to Arecibo. Yeah, most of them stay within the area. But, and if you are interested, our children, now this is, the Amazon rainforest is not over yet. We're still working on this. So, and if you're interested, today the children are going to be doing their scavenger hunts, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. And if you would like to go out and, take your child's grade papers, if you've got pre-Kers, oops, sorry. But,
I'm gonna walk with the pre-Kers and we are gonna do the scavenger hunt, but they can't read yet, so we'll be, I'll be working with them on that.
But if you want to take these and go out and look, because every single thing in the rainforest was done by children, and it started out with the kids were learning what the layers of the rainforest were: the emergent, the canopy, the understory, and the forest floor. And then they drew one, and they had to find a plant that grew there, and they had to build it, which they did, and it's all group work. And so then, after they built that, put it up, they said, okay, now, you have to go find out what animals live in that tree, around that tree, on that area. And they had to do a research, which they're doing now. And also, the younger ones, we talked about how the leaves, and the leaves get fed the ants and the invertebrates, and that was important because it actually helped eliminate some pests. It also caused some forest floor growth. And it also gave food for other animals and insects, and how it all just spirals through. And this is kind of what we're trying to look at, is that everything depends on everything else. If you remove a section of ants from a tree, that tree will probably die within the next few years because the ants gave it something important. And you can't destroy one thing without destroying other things, and it's all a cascade effect. So,
And Kathy, listening to the children as the rainforest has grown over the last few weeks, listening to them talking to each other as they were placing their flower, their animal, their insect, their whatever, and about what layer and why this animal went here. No, I can't place it up there. It doesn't look. This is where. Just hearing them talk to each other was amazing.
well, and the fact that they're also working together. And that it's a team learning thing. It's not individual, and this is something we're trying to work towards, doing project-based learning. So they're having fun, and that's the main goal of the science. And of course, they're learning fun about different cultures.
And the idea for us was to have a common project between science, Spanish, music, art as well. They're working in everything related with Peru. So we're trying to make, just with this Amazon project, that almost everybody here in the school try to get involved.
And we have even the tech people. Becky put an entire board out of sites and way they can use the sites to go and help, because it is their lives that they're building towards. Yes, a little propaganda here. Oops.
So,
But,
I think you hear a lot, you hear the school talk some about professional development for teachers and the importance of that. And this is a major investment for 3 people to go down there for that long, but it has totally changed the arc of the first semester in this school. It set them on fire. They came back and said, can we make the school a rainforest? And can we bring And I was like, yeah. And the other thing I think it does for students is, I love y'all's emphasis on collaboration and creativity, because those are competitive advantages in tomorrow's economy. But the other thing it does is it models lifelong learning, because students see them on fire for something and they understand that learning doesn't stop, that you keep learning throughout your life. It's been an incredibly powerful thing. And teachers working together with each other, And it's a testament to what professional development can do those funds can do for a school and good teachers.
And so how do we foresee supporting this school? Do we see an ongoing, in some way supporting like Santa Cruz School?
I would like
I'd love
it.
to.
In fact, some of us were talking about it would be great to go back down, but others are going, maybe not. But yeah, we discovered there's fire ants down there too, and really big spiders. But yeah, the school needs so much, but it has to be. They have to tell us what they need. There was a project a few years back at the school, or in the community, where somebody came in and gave every single home and the school working toilets. You say, okay. But when the water rises, it floods the toilets. And it costs too much money for them to go out and fix them, so they're still left. You see toilets sitting
Abandoned toilets everywhere.
And it can't be what we want to give them, it's got to be what they need. And the teachers asked, and they said, we'd really, really, really like whiteboards, simply because the chalkboards, when the rainy season, it just doesn't work well. And so, and they're asking for little. When we took the children on a little camping adventure, took them up to a high camp, and some of the kids slept on a mattress for the very first time, which gives you a clue of what they were. They got full plates of food and were sitting there waiting for us to say, yes, you can eat. And the pictures of the children out there, you'll rarely ever see a child smile. They are, just kind of like, okay, what's going on? And they're never, it took Joey like 2 hours to get a group of kids to laugh, doing all of his playing and antics and it was just, and you're sitting there going, you're doing great, wonderful, bueno, and they're just, and the parents were so grateful, and we took a bunch of clothing down to them too, not realizing that a 6th grader is about here. So our the little stuff that we took from our babies actually fit the 6th graders, and some of the ones from our children fit like 7th, 8th, 9th graders. So, this is what we'd like to do, and, we'll send this on and see what see what they ask for next.
Civilization there is just ballpark. You had said something about potentially thousands of years old. Yes or no? Is that accurate to say their civilization was established way before the United States, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What kind of observations do you have as to why the United States is so far advanced compared to their civilization? Because they obviously have huge resources. They have amazing natural resources, right? What were your observations?
Well, a way to get it in or out of, the resources are there,
Right.
but it's so difficult to even get there. You've got these resources, but how are you going to get them out? I think that would be the number one reason.
And all right, supposedly, just looking from that, Clovis people, when Clovis people settled here in the North America, they also traveled down and migrated down the mountains into the rainforest, and they separated. And the rainforest is so dense and so difficult to get through and get in that once they got there, they were sustained by their fruit, by the forest itself, the animals, this type of thing. And there was not a need at that point to try to dig and harvest and cut down and send out. It was subsistence living, which is still pretty much what it is. And there are still, as of 3 years ago, they discovered a new tribe that several of them came out and looked at some of the researchers and went back into the forest. And they're trying to leave them alone. It's not that they didn't want to, probably, it's that they didn't need to. And as far as the land goes, once the topsoil's gone, the excavation, the mining, anything like that, it's clay. It's Yazoo clay in the extreme down there.
One of the things that I think that it doesn't let them to improve from the previous times because of the technology that they had before is that when people came here to America, they didn't try to come here to learn. When Columbus arrived there, they didn't try to learn, so they just when they went there just to try to get gold and money and whatever thing, and all of the culture that they have, they just destroy the culture. They say, okay, the best idea here is just, we need just to get the money, so let's destroy every single building from here. So you see that there are just few buildings of what they had before. And why Machu Picchu survived? Because nobody knew about that city and it was hidden. So that's why they didn't do anything about that. So when people, and that you see that thing as well right now, they don't really care about if they have a technology or they have intelligence or they can give something to the society. No, they just, okay, I'm here for the trees, so let's get the trees, and if they are dying, I don't care about that. Let's just get the trees and let's move out. That happened. We went in Iquitos. There is a museum for the rubber thing.
Oh,
that
just makes you sick thinking about
that there were a lot of, well, the Indian people, the native people, they were living there, and people from the Dutch people were the ones, and Germans as well, with the Nazis and all these people. So they know that there were these rubber trees and they could get something out of that. They just went there and started just killing people and getting all of the rubber out of the country, and that's why they didn't get any opportunity to do anything. When people go there, they don't care if they really need to learn something. They just go for whatever they can get, the money that they can get, and they leave. And that's one of the biggest issues with Iquitos. Iquitos is a big city. It could be one of the main cities in the Amazon, but to get to the city has to be by plane or by boat. Boat take like a week to get from Lima to Iquitos. So it is a week just in a boat or in the airplane, but it is very expensive. So there are many people that they have living in Iquitos all their life, and they're gonna die in Iquitos because they don't have money to go anywhere. So lack of opportunities as well for them.
Are people also going in and doing anything to the animals, like killing them, taking them for fur, or like they?
Selling them in the market?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
so I guess like they probably lost some species, like this distinction.
Oh, yeah. There's, at this point in time, there's been more species, they estimate that there's been more species lost than they've found in the past 100 years. And they're still finding new species. Last year they found a new species of monkey and a new species of antelope-like a creature. And so you kind of go, what are we losing? And we get 25% of all of our medicines from the rainforest, and we haven't even explored that area in depth. So it's still part of it. And yet, we were talking with the people we were working with, and they had met with one of the mayors in the local area, and the mayor says, was saying, yes, all these people are coming in with all this money, but you stop and think about it. He says, all these people come in with money, they have to drive to go get food, they have to drive to go get anything. He says, we go outside and we pick our food, we get our food. And of course there is still, like, part of it too is you encourage not to use turtle shell eyeglasses or jewelry anymore, but they still eat turtles down there. And so once the turtle is used, you might as well go ahead and use the shell because they eat the animal. And the same with most of it. So it's a balancing act of life, and they catch a turtle, they're going to eat it. So it's part of helping the children understand that our frame of reference is very, very different from the people there, and they have to respect that one just as much as respect what's going on up here.
And that's as big a lesson for our children as anything else, to understand that our frame of reference is not the only frame of reference.
The culture.
Yeah.
I hate to say
All
it, we all have classes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Oh, and clipboards. What time do we go? I've only got 20 clipboards.